Now at 5, we check out area voter turnout and what's driving 4-staters to the polls. And
it's Election Day. I'm Cristian Benavides in Atlanta, Georgia, one of the battlegrounds where polls headed into today show a razor-thin race.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The voting is nearly over. The counting will soon begin, and we're following all of it. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. Across our nation and in much of the 4 states, turnout could be very high. It's not just the presidential election driving voters to the polls. Across our area, scores of local and county and state races are also on the ballots. In Missouri, voters are also choosing the next governor who will represent them in the U.S. Senate and several proposed state constitutional amendments. Those include one amendment concerning reproductive rights and another that would permit sports gambling in Missouri. Voters in Kansas are still lining up to cast their ballots and make their voices heard. KOAM Samantha Walker is in Cherokee County to tell us how the polls are looking with just a couple of hours to go.
Dow, thanks. Here in Cherokee County, voters aren't only voting for president or congressional candidates. The contested race for Cherokee County Sheriff between Brian Henderson and Russ Harper has also been drawing voters to the polls. Polling locations here in Kansas have been busy today, a trend we also saw throughout the early voting period. It's expected more than 1 million Kansans will cast their ballots for this year's election. In 2016, over 1.2 million people voted for the presidential election in Kansas. In 2020, that number went up to 1.3 million. The Kansas Secretary of State predicts we'll hit record numbers for voter turnout this year, and he says his office is working to make sure voters are able to feel that their vote is secure.
To actually solve the problem, if you see something irregular, normally it's just a lack of understanding. So talk to that local poll judge, or talk to your local election office as well as with what you've seen. You can report our office through votekansas.gov. We have a reporting mechanism there. Now you're actually reporting it to government as opposed to a private association, essentially.
Polls close in just under 2 hours here in Kansas. Remember, if you're in line when your polling location closes, stay in line. You still have the right to vote. Reporting in Cherokee County, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
All right, Samantha, thanks. In the presidential race, most polls in the battleground states show a statistical tie within the margin of error. And the uncertainty of what might happen has plenty of voters from both parties on edge. Let's go to reporter Cristian Benavides for the latest.
Already more than 4 million people have cast their ballot here in the battleground state of Georgia, the most in early voting ever. And more than 1 million are expected to cast their ballot today before the polls close. Polling sites across the country are seeing strong turnout as voters decide the next president. Voters say they came out to weigh in on the issues.
The southern border is definitely a big issue for me.
For me, it's going to be women's rights.
Heading into Election Day, polls showed former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris basically tied in the 7 key battleground states, including Georgia, which set an early voting record and has busy polling places today.
I love the energy.
So you think both sides are energized?
To a certain extent, yeah, I think so. I think you're seeing more passion.
What do you think is motivating those who are voting for Kamala Harris?
Hope, honestly. Hope everybody, sees that America is ready to turn this new page in our history.
Harris spent the day calling into radio shows
Madam President!
Before stopping by a phone bank at DNC headquarters.
We have all these volunteers here. You'd be really excited to know. There are just a lot of young people who are here calling the neighbors all over the country.
Casting his ballot in Palm Beach, Florida, Trump sowed doubt about the process.
I'm hearing in Pennsylvania they won't have an answer till 2 or 3 days from now. I think it's an absolute outrage if that's the case.
Both candidates will be watching closely with one of the most contentious and unpredictable campaigns in history now in the hands of the people. The presidential race here is razor thin, but officials believe they'll be able to count most votes tonight. Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger said 70% of the vote should be counted by 8 p.m. tonight.
It's Cristian Benavides. Harris will hold her election night party at her alma mater, Howard University. Trump also stopped at his campaign office in Palm Beach, Florida. Says he plans to watch returns at his Mar-a-Lago home before heading to his election night party at the Palm Beach Convention Center. You can get election results on our website as they come in tonight. Click on this QR code to take you there. Local and other election results. Of course, you can also go directly to KOAMNewsNow.com. We're going to have updated results on air tonight on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14, and of course on KOAM News at 10 right here. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy now for a first look at the weather.
Well, at least we're not dealing with severe weather today like we saw really over the past couple days. Kind of gloomy outside, but mainly dry. It's 59 in Joplin, it's 56 in Pittsburgh. We're going to stay dry as we go through the evening hours. Most of us are sitting mid to upper 50s to near 60 once you get into our southern counties. Through the evening, if you are going to be out, a lot of clouds. The clouds are going to start to break up later on tonight, but I do think we're going to get some patchy fog in here as we go through the overnight hours. So if you are going to be on the roadways, watch out for that. We still have these clouds kind of working through, but again, those are going to start to break up over the next several hours, and then we'll see plenty of sunshine as we go into our Wednesday. But we're already tracking our next storm system, which will start to give us some rain by Friday. We'll be talking about that here in a bit.
All right, Doug, we'll catch you in a few. Students at Joplin High School got the chance to learn about today's election process by casting some ballots of their own.
Thanks.
Anthony Saviello is at Joplin High School now with more. He joins us live.
Yeah, Dow, thanks. You're right. Here at Joplin High School, they're casting ballots of their own. However, these ballots don't necessarily count. So what do I mean by that? Well, the school held a mock election that was put together by the Joplin Student Council. This is a way for students to get a better understanding of how the elections work and hopefully emphasize the importance of what it actually means to vote when they're eligible to. The ballot that the students voted on is an exact copy of the Jasper County ballot. I spoke with both students and teachers to ask them how they feel about the election process after this experience.
We've had a lot of students come in and really feel like their voices have been heard. I think it's incredibly important what we're doing today, having students both get practice for before they turn 18 and also feel like they've been a part of something.
Now, the school has all the results, and actually I have all the results. The student council told me that the mock election has a tendency to result in the same way as Missouri tends to go in the election. Now, I have those results. However, we're going to make you wait until the 6 p.m. to know just how the students voted. Dow?
All right, Anthony, we'll check back with you at 6. Thanks. Still ahead, preserving historic homes.
Historic homes or investors' playgrounds. I'm Skyler Henry in Annapolis, Maryland, with a look at why some sellers want to keep properties like these and their stories intact.
But first, how dry air in the colder months could impact asthma patients. That's coming up in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, 22 common pesticides could be linked to prostate cancer. A study published by the American Cancer Society found popular fungicides, insecticides, and herbicides, including 2,4-D, had direct associations with prostate cancer. Some of the chemicals in those products are still considered not likely to be carcinogenic by the EPA. 1 in 3 patients diagnosed with cancer visited the emergency room in the 3 months before their diagnoses. A study in Canada found many people were going to the ER for symptoms caused by cancer before they knew they had it. Doctors say emergency rooms are not the ideal place to treat cancer symptoms or expedite cancer care, because they tend to be overcrowded and aren't equipped for long-term stays. Toddlers can understand the concept of possible and impossible even before they know what the words mean. A study by Johns Hopkins had 2- and 3-year-olds pick randomized colored toys from a machine. The toddlers were surprised when they drew an uncommon color, seemingly understanding how probability works. The results also showed children become curious when something unlikely happens. Our weather has been wet lately, but it won't stay that way forever. During the colder months, we can sometimes experience very dry air, particularly indoors. And that can increase respiratory problems for people with conditions like asthma. Stephanie Stahl has more.
9-year-old Bryce Shaw loves being outside with his mom in South Jersey, throwing around a baseball. But lately, it's been difficult.
It's like hard to breathe a little.
The third grader and his mom, Michelle, both have asthma.
It's scary to me. You know, I have to wake up and I often say, wow, I'm wheezing.
Doctors say the extended period of dry air during this drought has triggered an increase in respiratory problems.
So we're seeing a bit of an uptick in patients with respiratory disease coming in with what we call an exacerbation or sort of a worsening of their asthma or COPD.
Dr. Heather Giannini, a pulmonologist at Virtua Health, says the dry air inside and outside is full of dust and other substances.
More of these allergens enters their lungs, irritates the lungs, sets off an inflammatory process, and then can trigger what we call bronchospasm, where the airways get tight. That's when they start to feel wheezing, shortness of breath, difficulty getting those breaths in and out.
And then this device goes into my mouth and I breathe in. Normal breathing, so it gets down into my lungs.
Shaw uses a nebulizer with medication to help clear her airways.
My coughing, my wheezing, shortness of breath has been subsided.
And Bryce uses an albuterol inhaler every morning.
It like calms you down and it's easier to breathe.
Doctors also say humidifiers inside the house can help offset this dry weather, and so can steam from a hot shower. I'm Stephanie Stahl, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Other types of weather that can trigger asthma symptoms include cold temperatures and extreme heat. That's according to the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America. That is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, some retailers offer a special Election Day deal.
Plus, we are tracking another storm system. We're going to look at that coming up next. Well, it definitely turned out to be a cooler Election Tuesday. We had some light little scattered showers through the morning hours, and then the afternoon, just mainly mostly cloudy skies outside. High temps anywhere from about 59 to about 63, and that's kind of where we are sitting right now. Anywhere from mid 50s, case in point, Iola, 54, 56 in Nowata, 61 at Grand Lake. Stockton is sitting at 62 degrees. Let's go outside. Here's 7th. Here's Rangeline. 59 westerly winds, so a little breezy. We've had gusts kind of over 20 miles per hour at times. If you are going to be out throughout the evening, slow slide through the 50s into the 40s. We're also going to get some patchy fog out there, so watch out for that if you are going to be on the roadways later on tonight. Still, it's kind of breezy right now. We have those westerly winds kicking in 10 to 15, but these winds will start to die down, especially after midnight for us tonight. And as the wind dies down, that's when some fog will start to build in late tonight into tomorrow morning. We have all that moisture on the ground, so if the winds die down enough, then you're going to get your fog starting to develop across the region. Should burn off pretty quickly in the morning. Still have some clouds kind of rotating through, but our last storm system booking off toward the east, so we get a dry out for a couple days ahead of our next system, which is going to dip in, which will start to affect us on Friday and Saturday. So look at this upper level wave, kicks out southwestern parts of the U.S. We get some moisture, we get some rain chances pushing through. So this system will push on through as we go into the weekend, and then we'll see another system reload out across the Pacific Northwest, which will start to affect us by about the middle of next week. All right, let's go through time tonight. Again, we're going to have that patchy fog dipping back 43, 44, 45 degrees across the region. As we go through Wednesday by noon, lower 60s, a little bit warmer for you tomorrow. 65, 66 degrees into the upper 60s once you get into our southern counties. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy skies, get a few clouds in here. We dip back, upper 40s once again, and then on Thursday, partly sunny skies, still temperatures pretty good as we go into the mid 60s for highs, and then especially Thursday night into Friday morning, that's when we'll start to see those clouds increasing, and you can see the rain increasing out to our west with that next storm system. Day planner for you tomorrow, 45 to start, 61 by noon. We'll go with a high temp, 66, so pretty good on Wednesday. Let's look at this next system. Showers start to spread in, so by Friday morning, mainly on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side, but we'll just kind of slowly pull to the east as we get into Friday evening. And then we'll have bands of showers and maybe a few thunderstorms. Nothing strong, nothing severe as this pushes by Friday night into Saturday morning. And then we'll clear out nicely as we head into the weekend. All right, 66 on Wednesday, 65 on Thursday, 63 Friday. That rain sneaking in. Sunday looks great, 66, 70 on Monday. More showers and thunderstorms next Wednesday. I guess the good news here is, yes, we are getting rain, but yes, we're getting some time to dry out between it too.
And we kind of need both, I guess. Thanks, Doug. Coming up, making sure historic homes are around for future generations. Topping today's Consumer Watch, Boeing machinists in the Pacific Northwest have voted to accept a new contract proposal between the union and the company. It's going to end their 7-week strike. The new deal includes a 38% pay bump over 4 years and higher company contributions to 401k plans, though it will not restore the traditional pension. Multiple retailers are offering some winning deals this election day. Uber and Lyft offer discounted rides to the polls for voters. Bring in your iVoter ticket to Krispy Kreme for a free original glazed donut or to Johnny Rockets for a free milkshake at participating locations. IKEA offered a free frozen yogurt with coupon. Real estate experts say there's an escalating tug of war between would-be single-family home buyers and investors looking for short-term rental properties. Skylar Henry crunched the numbers and learned for some sellers it's about more than closing the deal.
Here and that we could step in and help preserve some of that legacy.
Kevin and Laura Smith bought this Revolutionary War era home in Annapolis, Maryland for the history behind it.
Wait, George Washington hid here?
Yes, I think it was 1789. He was headed on a walk down to the governor's house, and apparently he was so swarmed by people that he came into the house and I think maybe went through and escaped out the back.
When the couple decided to sell their piece of history, they wanted to see another family in the home and didn't like the idea of investors swooping in and turning the house into a short-term rental. Jill Wooten is their realtor.
We really wanted to set it up for another family to keep it for 200 years and have their grandchildren play on the floor here when they're little and then grow up and bring their family here.
Buying up homes and making them short-term vacation rentals is a growing industry. According to Door Loop, there were close to 1.3 million listings in 2022, up more than 20% from 2021.
They're playing in places where, families traditionally want that same thing.
Austin Harrison teaches urban studies at Rhodes College.
Do you think this is really sort of the way it will be, and this sort of strategy will only continue to grow?
It's hard to know what's a bubble and what's not, right? Really what these largest actors are looking for, they're not looking for total market control, at least not yet.
Several towns and communities across the country, including Annapolis, are now considering ordinances to limit the number of homes that can be used as short-term rentals.
We hold similar hopes for it, that it will continue to be a family home and not be used for other purposes.
And it won't. Since we talked with the Smiths, a buyer closed on the home with no intentions of renting it out. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Annapolis, Maryland.
A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, a breakdown of the paths to victory in the presidential race for both candidates and which states are likely to give the fastest results. Then on KOAM News at 6, more on voter turnout around the 4 states and what's driving voters to the polls. Plus a temporary ballot glitch in Barton County, Missouri, and Pitt State football falls in the most recent top 25 ranking. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. After getting not enough rain for a long time, we've had too much rain in the last 5 days or so. We're going to get a chance to dry out, however.
Yeah, a little bit. We are going to have some patchy fog out there tonight, so watch out for that. 66 on your Wednesday, 65 on Thursday. Rain showers, maybe a little bit of thunder, rolling back in, especially Friday afternoon into the first half of the day, Saturday.
Very good. Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next, and of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.